It's easy to imagine how COVID-19 might be a presidential election issue with the big day coming up fast, and South Korea currently going through a record infection spike, reaching just shy of 50,000 daily cases as of this morning. But I'm not talking here about which candidate might have a better plan for coping with the pandemic, but rather what will happen to all those potential voters if they're supposed to be isolated from the general population. Under current election rules, in-person voting wouldn't be possible for anyone diagnosed with COVID-19 within a few days of the March 9th election, because they wouldn't have any options after the close of early voting from March 4th to 5th. But for those who test positive after that, President Moon-Jae-in called yesterday for measures to guarantee their voting rights. After all, we're talking about potentially hundreds of thousands of people or more who might have been unable to vote based on current forecasts. Thankfully, lawmakers have been on the same page about revising the election law so that infected voters can cast their ballots in person during a designated window on March 9th from 6 p.m. to 9 p.m. after voting's closed to the general public. Other measures include establishing more temporary polling stations. There are some issues to tackle, however. There's the system that needs to be set up to get infected people temporary leave permits, for example. And all in all, the National Election Commission has placed the cost of making the necessary changes at 8.5 billion won, or over $7 million, including organising staff and purchasing protective clothing. But lawmakers are set to confirm the necessary legislative procedures by early next week, especially as there's no divide between the main two parties on this issue. And that's also around the same time as the deadline for presidential election candidates to register with the National Election Commission. After that, we'll have a clear picture of not only who's running, but also we can look forward to the maximum number of people having their say in the vote, even if they have tested positive for COVID-19.